Disclaimer, buckle up. This episode of Three Friends and All the Things is packed with foul language, inappropriate comments, and even some streaking. If that's your jam, then welcome to the circus. Let the shenanigans begin.
Here's the bloody intro. Welcome to Three Friends and All the Things podcast, where the hosts are just here to make each other laugh. And now, here are Kris, Gia, and Jay. Three Friends and All the Things podcast. Real talk for real people.
And welcome back to Three Friends and All the Things podcast. This is Kris, your host, and I am here today with producer Lori. Hi, Lori.
Hello.
And we are going to talk about all things Philly, especially what it is like and the rules for being a Philadelphia fan. Go ahead, Lori. You want to kick us off here?
Sure. I mean, we were mentioning how we're going to talk about this because we are in a very sensitive time of the year where we have the Phillies ending their season, of course, on the top. And then we have the Super Bowl champions coming in and starting off their season. And it's a very sensitive time for us in Philly right now. We're very emotional. And,
We're clearly confused about how we want to dress because we're in that crossover and we don't know really like what game do you turn on? Do you watch baseball? Do you watch football? Being a Sunday, clearly you want to watch football. But, if there's a Thursday night game, there could be a Phillies game. There could be an Eagles game. So like, which one do you watch?
Listen, you just have multiple TVs on your house. And do they do split screens on TVs anymore? They used to do that in the 90s. They don't do that anymore, do they?
I think they do, but I think
They
it's
do?
too hard to follow.
Could be. I don't know. I never did it.
Because I feel like when you have a split screen and you're watching multiple games, it's like, okay, well, you're kind of focused on one and then you might miss a crucial play on the other game. And then it's like, oh man. So
it's sensory overload.
Right. And I just revert back to the old school, let's record it.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I do.
That's true.
Yeah.
But let's start talking about in light of this past week's situation with Philadelphia Phillies fan, who took a home run baseball from a small child.
Yes.
Now, first off, you don't do that. You don't do that.
No.
But what is the right etiquette when you go to games? I almost feel like the home run balls doesn't it remind you of, not now because they don't do it anymore, but remember back in the day when you used to go to your friend's wedding and used to catch the bouquet, how vicious that was? That's how it is with home run ball. But I mean, whoever ends up with it in the end, that's who ends up with it in the end.
Right. And I think there's a rule of thumb in general, not just in Philly, but I think in general, if you catch the home run ball, you give it to the nearest child. You let the kids have it. You don't keep it for yourself. And you certainly, as a grown adult, do not walk over, put hands on somebody, number one, and start screaming at them like a lunatic that I had it first. You took it out of my hand. That's mine. First of all, it was the child's birthday. Second of all, she never had the ball as far as I could see on the video. She never had the ball. She never touched it. But she's going to sit there and cry and say the guy grabbed it out of her hands. You saw the way the father acted. He turned the ball over. He never made a big stink about anything. He was just like, whoa, what happened? Like, why are you yelling at me?
Well, he knew she was nuts. And he wanted to get rid of her away from his family. That's what he did.
Correct. And he said the reason why he flinched and, kind of like jumped and did this was because she came over like an absolute head case and started screaming in his ear, and it caught him off guard. It startled him. And so after he had to listen to her carry on and scream and yell, he finally just took the ball from the kid and said, here, go away, just to shut her up. And then she said something while she was walking away, which I don't know what that was, but whatever, whatever.
But then to go off and mouth off to the other fan that you saw there was a third fan going for the ball. Just because the ball fell in the seats in front of her didn't make it hers. Because that
Correct.
father, you could tell the way he leaned over and got it. He didn't rip it out of anybody's hand. He just got the ball.
No,
There was a
no.
third person that was wearing an Eagles jersey, and then she
Okay.
went over afterwards and mouthed off to him. Did you see that video?
No,
And
I
then
did
she
not.
gave the
I did
middle
miss
finger
that.
to everybody around her.
I did see the middle finger being launched on her behalf,
Yes.
which, and again, there's a lot of rumors going around the internet as to who she is. Her identity has been mistaken a few times. I do not know her name at this point. However, there is speculation that she has been fired from her job, and acting like that and giving the finger to people. Yeah, that is completely unsportsmanlike and that is uncalled for. And that's what gives Philly fans a really bad reputation. However, the good part of all of this is that not only did the Marlins Association, but also the Phillies Association
Yes. He
both
ended up.
came they both came forward. The Marlins gave the family a gift bag with some stuff in there. And then once the Phillies found out about it, Harrison Bader went down and he told the kid, I can't give you a ball, but I can give you a signed bat. So not only did the Marlins step up, but so did the Phillies. And Harrison Bader is the hero in all of this. And now I'm hearing that somebody else chimed in and said something
Camping
about
World.
Okay, yeah, Camping World, and
Going
they
to
gave
send
the
him to the
family
World Series and
and
a
gave
free
them
camper.
yeah, that's crazy. So, to the lady that took the ball from the kid, I hope you're happy. I hope it was worth it because you're a loser and you're the most hated person on the internet. Now, back to the rules of being a Philly fan. Number one, you do not steal a ball from a child. And even if you catch a foul ball, home run ball, whatever it is, you give
Mhm.
it to the nearest kid. That's what you do. That is
That is
etiquette.
what you do. But we
That
have
is
to I think we could both agree with this, like the atmosphere at a baseball game and the
it.
atmosphere at a football game are two totally different atmospheres, even though it's the same Philly fan. Because at the baseball games it's very family oriented. You got a lot of kids, it's more
Hmm.
calmer. But then you go over to the football side. Now that's a whole new breed. And I think we need to have the discussion, especially listen, I'm all about freedom and doing what you want. Okay. If you're on the opposing team and you say, I want to go have the Philadelphia experience, I want to go watch my team play in Philadelphia. Hey, come
Hmm.
on in.
Hmm.
But there's some rules to that, and I mean, let's just be honest. Like, don't come rolling on into our city, being all cocky, thinking you're going to mouth off to the Eagles fans and say all your stuff. You want to come in, you're going to be wearing your own team's jersey. You're going to have your feelings hurt while you're there. It's going to happen.
Yeah. Yeah.
Heckling's going to happen. It's going to happen.
Hmm.
Just have thick skin, laugh it off, do whatever.
Hmm.
And it's kind of like you got to understand the rule. Like, remember when you were a kid? And when you were at home, you're allowed to do whatever you wanted at home, kind of saying your parents let you goof off a little bit, but you went over to your aunt's or your grandmom's house.
Hmm.
Now it's a whole new set of rules. You don't jump on the couch at your aunt's house. You're not even allowed to, we weren't even allowed to sit on the couch as kids. That was like a privilege. You remember that? You weren't even allowed to sit on the couch. That's why we're always on the floor. That's why we have bad backs now, because we're always on the floor. But
Either that or the sofa was covered in plastic.
yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, like you don't go into somebody's house and break the rules and jump on their couch. So
Right.
what cracks me up is when you have the people that come in from out of town and they think they're going to walk through our tailgating and like heckle people. And then when they get their asses handed to them by the Eagles fans, they go on social media and they cry about it. Like,
Hmm.
don't do that because like you asked for it first off, and you only make yourself look like a fool because look, we have the reputation. You know what we're going to do. You know what we're going to say.
Right.
Now, I don't believe in anybody putting hands on anybody. Fist fights, I'm
Correct.
not promoting that.
Mm-mm,
No, but
mm-mm, mm-mm.
listen, if you're walking down the tailgate and you see people and they're having a great time, and if you see some dude and if he's got that school bus that looks like an Eagles condo, all decked out, paying it. See, what you need to understand is he took from his kid's college fund to build that bus for his team. He is not your guy. Do not walk up and say anything to that guy because everybody around him and him, they're going to eat you up alive. So just
Unless it's
come
a
in.
compliment, then you can
Right.
go and talk to them, and you can
Go
join
and
the
talk
party.
smack.
Like we are all for We are all for you joining our tailgates. We are all for welcoming you in. We don't care about that. It's when you start mouthing off and, thinking that you're going to come in with no consequences because you're going to run your mouth. Wrong city, wrong crowd, people. Just don't do it. Just don't do it. But again, we are a
If
very
you go in the
welcoming
wrong
city.
section too,
Yeah.
they really don't want you there anyway. Just walk through, stay focused, and and here's the other thing: there is nothing more dangerous and lethal than a pissed off Eagles fan. Okay, so
Yes.
if you come to the game, and in this wild, strange event that your team happens to kick the Eagles' ass, when you go to leave that arena to go to your car, don't say anything. Just don't do it because we're already going to burn the city down on our own because we're pissed. Don't say anything because we're going to throw you in the building that's burning down.
It's true. It's
We will
so
flip your
true.
car at the red light. We don't care. We don't
Because let
care.
me tell you something. Let me tell you something. Okay. When the Eagles lose, and I think a loss for the Eagles is way worse than the Phillies. Okay.
Right.
Because, you know, Phillies have 100 and some games. We have under 20, right?
Right.
So we have very limited time as Eagles fans to get out there. We play once a week. The Phillies are playing multiple times a week. So, it's a lot different. So the fan experience is very relaxed at the Phillies game. We still don't like when we lose, but whatever, do not talk crap to the Eagles fans on the way out because you think your team is better. Because, like Lori said, we're already planning to burn the city down. Okay. We're already in a bad mood. Okay. And they will take it out on you. They will. And this is why we have such a terrible reputation. It is because we are so passionate. We are so passionate and we love our teams. It's, you know, to the nth degree. Like we will give up our firstborn child. Like we don't even care. We're like,
We burn
whatever.
the city down when they win.
Yeah, well, that's true too. That out of excitement, So either way, the city is getting burned down. But we love our teams so much that we do not tolerate the visitors talking smack. You are not allowed to talk smack. We are, because we are the fans, and it's okay for us to do it, but not for you guys. Okay. We will badmouth our own team and boo them when they're down, and we will rise to the occasion and cheer them on when they're winning. But yeah, just don't do that. Just don't do that. Just, keep your P's and Q's to yourself when you're coming into Philly. No, do not be afraid to come by any means. You just got to know the rules. Don't mouth
Yeah, like the Philly
off.
etiquette. That's not about how we're supposed to act.
Mm-hmm.
It's how
Yeah,
you
that
act
applies
in our
to the
house.
outsiders.
And let's be honest, we'll go to another city to a game and we'll still act up and do our thing. But it's okay because, we're Philly and they're just going to go, don't look at them. Just let them keep walking. It's
Because they know we have tough skin. We are the loudest, proudest, probably on the same token, the worst, most offensive fans that there are. Coach Sirianni has said it. All the Eagles players have said it. The Phillies players have said it. They don't want to play anywhere else because they know that it's such a unified city and they love playing for our fans and they know what it's about. And that is why they want to be here. And we want them here. We want them here.
There's so much heart in Philadelphia.
There really is. There really is. But on the flip side of that, to commend the Phillies fans, when Trey Turner was in his slump, I think it was last season, he was in a slump and, he just wasn't hitting his marks at all. And somebody started a campaign online basically saying, hey, let's cut this guy a break. And when he's up at bat, let's give him a standing ovation. And the whole stadium got up, gave him a standing ovation. And I think, if I'm not mistaken, I think he hit a home run and that got him out of his slump. So we do band together and we do support our players to the end of time. Like we love our players. And, when they get hurt, we are hurt. When they are on a high roll, so are we. We ride the wave with them. But don't come into our city bad mouthing. Don't come in telling us that your players are better than ours, because we are the heart and soul. I've never seen any other teams be the heart and soul of a city like the Philadelphia teams are.
We'll also
It's
call our
crazy.
players out. When our players need to be put in their place, we'll do that too. I
Mhm.
mean, we're not afraid to be vocal. It's not like we sit and just kiss our players' asses all the time and tell them
Mm-mm.
how great they are.
Mm-mm.
Listen, if you effed up, you effed up, and they're gonna know. I think that's one of
Right.
their biggest fears. I don't even think they fear their coaches as much as they fear their fans. They
Mm-mm.
do not want to upset the fans. And I mean, and can I just throw something out there? I kind of noticed that like the first round of games, everybody's first game this year, how the Super Bowl teams, how they started out their year, the way they ended it. I'm just going to put that out there.
Mhm. Mhm.
Put that out there.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah.
We won
Yeah.
ours, they lost theirs.
Yeah. And the thing is, you know, we expect, just because we won the Super Bowl, we expected them to come out being like a Super Bowl team. That's not gonna happen. That's not gonna happen.
Yeah,
It's the beginning of the season, people.
right.
Like, calm
Yeah,
down. We
it was a
won.
little sketchy in the beginning, and I just remember because come on, people, I'm hitting 50, and I take my melatonin at night. I told the people at my work I only made it to halftime.
Mhm.
Okay, but I remember rolling over and saying to John, I said, because he works right there in Philly, I said, if they lose this game, this first game coming off the Super Bowl to the Dallas Cowboys, I said, they're going to burn the city down. You're not even going into work tomorrow.
Mhm.
Like, you can't do that. You can't do
Mhm.
that to the fans.
Right. Right.
Can't do it.
And I do think that there were a few occasions where we got some bad calls happening. I think there were things that I think the Cowboys definitely got away with. Things that weren't seen by the refs, or maybe the refs just chose to ignore it because, it's Dallas and you have to give every player a chance today. Everybody wins a trophy. So, I think we got a couple of bad
Chiefs
calls
didn't win the
against us.
trophy.
Very true. It's very true.
I'm sorry.
And
I'm just throwing that out there again.
And while I don't agree with Jalen Carter spitting on Dak Prescott, I definitely think that was very unsportsmanlike. I think
He was
that
taunted, though.
he could be taunted. He could be taunted, but come on, you're on a Super Bowl
That was a
champion
rookie
team.
mistake. Yeah,
It
that
is
was
a rookie mistake. It is a
because the
rookie
seasoned
mistake.
guy would have spit on him, gave him a right hook, and Dak wouldn't have been playing in that. He wasn't. He wasn't. He would have taken him out. But no, the season one would have known to back up and say, "Don't let that phase you." He's trying to take you out of the game, and it worked.
Exactly. Exactly.
It
And
worked.
and you're right. It did work. It did work. He got under his skin, rookie mistake. And I think with Jalen Carter, I think that will be the mistake that will define his future choices.
Mhm.
When he gets taunted, it's like, hey, I spit on this guy. I thought he was spitting on me first. Don't make assumptions. Just keep your head in the game. It's a game. At the end of the day, it's a game. And as much as we love our sports, it is just a game. Yes, we're passionate. Yes, we will kill. We will sell our firstborn child, unless it's a dog. However,
For the season tickets, just one set of season
yeah,
tickets. They do it.
yeah, exactly. Exactly. And then there is all the sports stuff. I don't even know if they make them anymore. Do they still make the foam fingers? Do you remember the
Yes.
foam fingers? Do they? I haven't seen them in forever.
Well, these
I
time
haven't
in
seen them
Party
in
City,
forever.
but they closed up. I used to take them to my son's baseball games. I was the mom at the baseball game for Little League, with the foam finger. Yeah, it was me. That was me.
And
Rom
now,
Poms and the foam finger.
yeah, and now, it's mostly, t-shirts, jerseys, hats, in my case, cardigan sweaters.
I know.
Old
That's
school, which I
fancy.
found
That's fancy.
online. I found online and I was like, I have to have this. I also have a Phillies one too. And on the back of my Phillies one, it's got a big P on the front. And on the back, it says ring the bell and it has the Liberty Bell. And this one on the back
You
says
brought
go
that with
birds.
you.
I did.
You did.
You saw that one. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, I'm all for, wearing the clothes and having the pride and, doing all that stuff. But I also think that you need to keep your behavior in check. No spitting, no slapping, because you will end up in Eagles jail because they do have a jail right under the stadium. Just so you know.
Can I
So,
just throw this out here? See, that's why and coming out of high school and my early 20s, I was such a big Flyers fan. Man,
Yeah.
they could do anything on that. Well, I know they have their wings clipped a little more now. All the
Mhm.
fighting, they could do anything on the ice. And that was a mix. That was like a
Mhm.
mix between like baseball and football fans because you had a lot of kids there, but also when you go, there's a lot of cursing, there's a lot of
Mhm.
whatever.
Mhm.
Yeah. Hockey fans, they don't burn down the city or anything. That's strictly an Eagles fan thing that happens with all that. That's
Mhm.
what people have to understand. The Phillies fans don't do that. The
That's why
Philadelphia
we
Phillies fans don't do that. The
that's why
Flyers
we
fans
grease
don't
the
do that.
poles. That's why we grease the poles during football season
But
because
that doesn't
people
stop them.
it does not stop them, but for those who don't know, we literally take mops and like Crisco oil and we mop the oil on the poles because for whatever reason people like to climb them, I guess to get a better view or just to celebrate or just to try and be destructive, who knows. They grease the poles and now it's a whole thing. People yell grease the poles and it's on shirts and all sorts of stuff. And it does not stop them. They will climb up there and now it's a challenge. Now it's like they grease the poles. Let's see if we can get up there. But that's why they do it. They don't do it during baseball season or hockey season or basketball season. No, not that
Nope.
I'm aware of. They only do it during football season because the Eagles fans are batshit crazy.
Yeah, they're a very
But
special
they are.
group of people. They have a
Yes.
lot of heart. They always say, like, when you're in that parking lot, now everybody bleeds green. Doesn't matter who you are, where you're from, what you do for a living. I mean, think about it.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
Mm-hmm.
I mean,
But you gotta have for the Eagles, you gotta have tough skin. And if you're gonna take your kids to the game, you have to know that there is going to be cursing. There's going to be obnoxious behavior. People are going to get mad at any given play. It does not matter. You just
right.
let them go. You may not want your kids to hear it, but it's going to happen. I'm just telling you now, it's a guarantee it is going to happen. You don't hear it as much at the Phillies game. I haven't been to a Flyers game in I don't know how long, but I remember back in grade school. I remember John going to the games, and I would go with my parent or my dad. Really was the one that would go. We also had another friend, Michelle. Her dad had seats. I think it was like 3 or 4 rows off the ice. Like she had prime seats. They
Right.
were great. And so, we all used to kind of like, oh, you go to the hockey game, you go to the hockey game. And I remember one day my parents took me out of school because they were taking me to the Flyers game and I had to have a note. And I think Michelle was going with me. And everyone was like, your parents seriously wrote a note because you're going to the Flyers game? I'm like, yes. Yeah, it was like serious stuff. But, back then there was fighting on the ice and I remember the Flyers games before helmets became
A
the
thing.
regulation.
Hmm.
Yeah, and I think it was and I'm going way back here. I if I'm not mistaken, I believe it was Brad Marsh and he would not wear a helmet. And I think back then it was it was your choice whether or not you wanted to. And somebody checked him, he hit his head on the ice, he got a concussion and I don't know what number concussion this was for him, but he ended up getting hurt really badly and I remember it was right after that they made it a regulation in hockey that helmets had to be worn. So, yeah, and that was I mean, we're talking
They were
way
so
back,
able to fight then.
way
I feel
back.
like now they've like softened up a little too much. I
I
was
think they
the
have too.
Yeah, my
People like
son,
hockey for the fights. That's like part of it. And
it's
it's like
fast
the minute
paced. It's
yeah.
a lot of action. Like my son played hockey for 1 year. He also played baseball. He played soccer. He didn't like all the equipment he had to wear because he liked being
Mhm.
goalie. Once you put
Mhm.
all that on him, he didn't like it. But
Right.
what do you? Oh, I was going somewhere with that. Oh, I was the mom that was on the sidelines that like when it was just a street hockey that he was doing.
Mhm.
He was chasing
Mhm.
after the one kid. I went back to my Flyers days because they were the Flyers colors.
Mhm. Mhm.
And he was chasing. I remember I just screamed out, I'm like, check him. The one dad that was like the ref or whatever turned around and was like, no checking like that and start like gave me this meanest look. And I was like, oops, but it was such a natural reaction because when you went to
Right.
those games, that's what you did. There was some foul language at those games. There was, the most family friendly that you can go to definitely is baseball. That was always, you know. I remember
Mhm.
being a kid, dad always took me to baseball. He never took me to an Eagles game. He never took me to a tailgate. I mean, my dad was on the news tailgating
Mhm.
at, the Eagles games and all, Back then you didn't take your kids there. Now it's a little more common, but if you take your kids there, don't turn around to the guy behind you and say, can you like cut down on the cursing? Like you said, that's what it is. You got
That's
to
not
go
gonna
there and say
work.
your kids, you're going to hear some stuff. You're probably going to see a few things, you
You
know.
may learn a whole new vocabulary.
No,
Just
yeah.
saying. Just saying. Yeah. Yeah.
I
You
mean,
have to
it
be
could be
prepared for
the
that.
breeze, and you'll have Eagles fans out there like almost butt ass naked with body paint on, and they don't
Yeah.
feel because they've been drinking since like 7 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. And I think, speaking of family friendly, I also think because we have to mention the 76ers, you can't leave them out. But I think now I haven't been to a basketball game and I couldn't tell you how long. I don't even know if I've ever been to a Sixers game. Basketball is just not my thing. I just don't really care about it. But I would say, as far as family friendly goes, I would say the Phillies and probably the Sixers are
Right.
definitely family friendly
Yeah, I know a
environments.
lot of people that take their kids to a basketball
Yeah.
game.
Yeah. And then followed up by, I would say hockey is definitely third. The worst environment for sports in Philly would definitely be the Eagles because you are definitely going to learn some colorful words and
The
you
worst for
will.
kids, the best for us.
Absolutely. Oh, absolutely. And wear the sports gear. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if you are a basketball fan and you go to an Eagles, Flyers, or Phillies game. You can wear your jersey. You can wear your Sixers jersey. It doesn't matter. There's
That's
people that
right.
go to the Phillies game and they're running around in Jason Kelsey jerseys. There's people that go to the Flyers games and they're wearing Phillies. It doesn't matter. And the one thing I do really like about our sports teams, this is, I think, my favorite part of being a Philadelphian and following the sports is that our teams more than ever support each other. You will see Bryce
Yes.
Harper from the Phillies sitting at the Eagles game. You will see Jason Kelsey and Fletcher Cox from the Eagles going to a Phillies game. You will see Joel Embiid from the Sixers at the Phillies game and vice versa. Like they all support each other. They all
Yes.
go to each other's games. And I feel like that is more pronounced now more than I've ever seen it growing up. I don't ever recall other teams supporting other teams in the area like
Mhm.
they do now. It's such a sportsmanship and they're all, I mean, Bryce Harper has, he's number 3. He comes out and he has his Kelly Green Eagles um, baseball shirt with number 3
Mhm.
on it. Like, you know, that's awesome. Like, I think that's awesome. He goes to the Eagles games and, you see all the other players supporting each other. And I think because if one team wins, everybody gets on this high, like, okay, we want to do what the Eagles did. They just won the Super Bowl. So now we want to go out and we want to win the World Series, or we want to go and win the NBA championship, or we want to go win, the Stanley Cup, whatever it is. And you have these other players supporting each other, which I think is just the coolest. I think it's amazing.
Now, what do you think? Do you think there's a lot of pressure on the Phillies, especially right now, to win the World Series, especially after the Eagles won the
A
Super Bowl? Do you think
100%.
there's more pressure on them?
Oh yeah, 100%. And whether it's from the fans or whether it's from the players themselves, yes, I think there's pressure. I think there's pressure for the Phillies every year. The minute they get into the playoffs, the playoffs are a whole different. It's like a second season almost. It doesn't matter what you did all season long. You're in the playoffs. It's like a clean slate starting over, and it's anybody's game. It's anybody's game, just like the playoffs with the NFL. Just like the playoffs with Stanley Cup. It is anybody's game. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter that you got there. What are you going
It's
to
like
do with
turning
it now that you're
18.
there?
Yeah, it's like
Right.
turning 18. Everything you do now matters.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Exactly. So I think the players are putting pressure on themselves. I think the fans are putting pressures on the players. I think that it's just it's a very electric environment, very, high strung atmosphere because nobody wants to see their team lose. You're spending all this money to go to the game. You're out there, you're supporting, you're buying the swag, you're cheering, you're showing up, whatever it is. And the tickets are not cheap by any stretch of the means. You're showing up, you want your team to win. And when they don't, you get really disappointed. But, again, the end of the day, it's a game. And I will have, a second and third team backup who I like or maybe not like. And, if there are teams playing that I don't really care for, then I'm like, I'm just not interested in the World Series this year. I'm not interested in the Stanley Cup this year. I'm not interested in, whatever. But, you know, last year during the football season, I thought Detroit was going to go all the way, and we were looking at tickets. Joe and I were looking at tickets, and he's like, "Okay, so if Philly comes through Detroit," and I'm like, "Let's hold off because we don't know what's going to happen." And what happened? Detroit got knocked out. And then the road to the Super Bowl ended up going through Philly. And it's like, okay, well, that was a sudden turn of events that we were not banking on because we thought for sure. We thought I never in a million years expected the Eagles not only to make it as far as they did, but to win the whole freaking thing. I never expected that. And the way that they locked in,
it's the air around here.
You always hope.
We know.
Well, you always hope that they do, and then you get disappointed when they don't. But the way the Eagles locked in, and Joe said to me during, I think it was the last two games before before the Super Bowl, he said, "Look at the players. They are not celebrating in the end zone. They are making their touchdowns and they go right back into, okay, let's huddle. What's the next play? What are we doing? What are we doing?" They were so locked in and focused and poised and just ready to go. And when they showed up at the Super Bowl, I expected nothing less of them. And when I saw Patrick Mahomes walk out, and I went, "Oh my God, he is wearing an Eagles green suit. Is that seriously? What
he
is
did it
wrong
to
with him?"
himself.
Right.
You
And I'm
wouldn't
like,
catch
dude,
Philly doing that. You would never wear the other.
right. And I'm thinking, dude, is this a sign? Are you that cocky? Are you that sure of yourself that you're literally going to wear our team's colors in a suit as you're walking into the Super Bowl? Seriously? You're going down. You're going to lose. And
now his team's 0-2. I'm starting with the Super Bowl game. They're 0-2.
I'll tell you what, when the Eagles came out and started playing, it was I expected nothing less of them, but how they performed blew me away. Blew me away. I couldn't believe it. And I couldn't even go to a Super Bowl party because I was not mature enough to conduct myself in an adult manner. We stayed home because I thought it was safest for everybody. And when I tell you screaming at the TV, I scared the dog. I was out of control. I was out of control. I'm surprised neighbors didn't call the cops. And our neighbors aren't even close, but I'm surprised that they didn't call the cops thinking that someone was getting murdered with the way I was carrying on. That is the heart and soul of Philly. That is how our fans are, whether you're home alone or whether you're in a stadium full of people. The other rule is, aside from, don't shit talk people, is, when you're sitting in a row of people and the beer guy comes, you pass the food down. You pass your credit card down. You pay. You send it back. And if you are from the opposing team and you're being nice to us, we might even buy you a beer and a hot dog or a pretzel, whatever you want. We might even be like,
"You've been out of the area too long. I wouldn't buy that guy a hot dog." I'd be like, you buy me the hot dog.
Yeah, I guess. I guess.
Listen,
I just try to be the nice person.
To sum it all up, there is certain ways certain rules you should follow, like you said, give the ball to the kids. But all in all, just don't fuck with Philly.
Yeah.
I don't even care if we're on the losing end. Just don't do it. Just don't do it.
Whether we win or lose, just keep your mouth shut unless you have something positive to say, because we will hurt you.
We're going to hurt your feelings, and then we're just going to check everything off the list after that. But see, it's just, don't come into the town, though, knowing our reputation, and then leave and go on social media and complain about us, because you're just going to make yourself look like an ass because, so, I mean, I think that just about sums it all up. What do you think?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, don't trash talk us. Be ready, because you know what our reputation is like. You know what we're capable of. Some people have never truly experienced it before. Don't let us scare you. We really are there's a fly.
Mhm.
Don't let us scare you. We really are a nice bunch of people. We just get very passionate. We don't want you shit talking. We're allowed to, you are not. Don't say anything negative about anybody. Otherwise, we will turn around, even if it's at a nice family friendly environment like a Phillies or Sixers game. And, if we don't mouth off to you, we probably will punch you in the throat. So, with that being said,
Don't jump on Aunt Mimi's couch. Don't jump on her couch.
Don't jump on the couch. And
That was a life lesson right there.
And I think that about sums up our Philly talk for the day. So, Lori, thank you for joining us on Three Friends and All the Things. And
No problem.
until the next episode, just remember who you are. Keep it safe. Keep it real. Until next time.
Thanks for listening to the show. Be sure to like and follow us on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube. See you next time on Three Friends and All the Things podcast. Real talk, real people. New episodes drop every week, so hit follow, leave a review, and tell your messiest friend to listen too. You know the one I'm talking about. Until next time, keep it real, keep it loud, and keep doing all the things.
What is he doing? Tell him to shut it off. Am I supposed to stop it? I don't even know. Jason Charles. That's not even your name.
He puts my boobs on here. See what he does?
Because he loves them.